Welcome to Coffee with CEF. We're really excited to have you this morning. Thank you all for coming, especially those of you who have come to multiple of these sessions. This is number 6, so thank you all for joining us. So today we've got some really special guests from our high schools. From Sacred Heart High School in Lincoln Heights, we have Principal Raymond Saborio, Senior Diana Tran, and Junior Kelley Manzo. From Cathedral High School in Chinatown, just north of downtown Los Angeles, we have President Martin Farfan and seniors Oscar Diaz and Daniel Garcia. And we're also really happy to have Dan O'Connell. He's the Deputy Superintendent of High Schools for the Archdiocese of Los Angeles. For those of you who are not familiar with the Catholic Education Foundation, welcome. We're really, really happy that you're here with us today. So to give you a little bit of background, the Catholic Education Foundation provides tuition awards to more than 10,000 students every year in elementary schools and high schools, thanks to the support of our donors. So we hope that this virtual field trip to our high schools this morning can provide just a glimpse into our Catholic schools and to help you to get to know our students. We are back on Wednesdays, every Wednesday at 10 a.m. through the end of June with guests from throughout the Archdiocese of Los Angeles. Last week, we were really happy to meet Dr. Phyllis and Deacon Doug Kramer at St. Elizabeth of Hungary in Altadena. If you'd like to view last week's event, you can see it at cefdn.org/coffee with CEF. There is a link there to all of our previous episodes on our YouTube channel. Now, I'd like to welcome Dan O'Connell. Dr. Dan O'Connell currently serves as the Deputy Superintendent of High Schools for the Archdiocese of Los Angeles, where he oversees the 51 Catholic high schools within the Archdiocese. Prior to this position, he served as the Director of High School Curriculum and Leadership Development for the Archdiocese. Before that, he served as the Principal of Verbum Dei High School, a Jesuit Cristo Rey all-boys high school located in Watts, which is another one of our big CEF beneficiaries. Dan began his education career at Loyola High School, serving in campus ministry and teaching English. He has a BA from the University of California, Berkeley, and a Master of Arts in Secondary Education and a Doctor of Education and Educational Leadership for Social Justice from Loyola Marymount University. Dan, welcome. Please, first let us know what you've got in your cup this morning, and then we'd love to hear more about the current state of our high schools.
Great. Thank you so much for having me here today, and thank you on behalf of the Department of Catholic Schools and all of our schools for the tremendous work that you do on behalf of our students. So I have here just coffee with a splash of milk, simple, and that's what I have every morning, and I'm nearing the end of it because this is my second cup of the day. But I chose today a cup, a mug from Hawaii that depicts Hawaii, thinking of fonder days, you know, and places that I could be rather than being in my room here with all of you. Not to say that I don't want to be here, but I would rather be with you in person than stuck in my room here. But yeah, so just a quick kind of update on things going on with our high schools and where things are. As this is the 6th coffee that you've conducted, I'm sure you've heard how things are going across the board as far as the shift to distance learning, but I just want to acknowledge just the heroic efforts of our teachers and our school leaders and our students and everybody involved for shifting within 2 days to distance learning, completely shifting the paradigm of how we approach teaching and learning in our schools to ensure that teaching is still happening and students are still learning. You know, this has been an incredible effort, especially as we look toward our, you know, public school counterparts and other sectors of the education world where students really are not continuing to learn as they should be. One thing too with our distance learning is we identified that all but 36 students in our schools had devices and internet access that allowed them to access the learning. And through working with the C3 group at ADLA, as well as some generous supporters, we were able to fill that gap and deploy 36 additional devices, internet-enabled devices out to our schools where they're needed to ensure that all students are able to access their education. Our small, tiny 2-person academic excellence team at the DCS has been working nonstop in providing professional development for our teachers and academic leaders. And at this point, we're really just kind of working as a true learning community, bringing teachers and leaders together to collaborate and share best practices and improve what we're doing and learning every day, every week to deliver a better experience for our students. So that's the kind of the shift to the distance learning. Right now, really, our schools, our high schools are focused on finishing the year strong, and graduations or virtual graduations or other celebrations of the amazing class of 2020. We did a collaborative effort working with our school leaders to develop guidance and recommendations for finishing the school year strong, and shared that out a few weeks ago now, and schools are working on implementing that and ensuring that we finish strong with final exams, and looking at unique ways to celebrate our students and their achievements. And so on behalf of the class, or on behalf of the Department of Catholic Schools, I just want to congratulate the class of 2020, especially those students who are here with us today. And it's great to see you actually, students, because I haven't seen an actual high school student in a couple months now. So it's wonderful to be with you. The next thing is our schools are really focused on budgeting and planning for next year. As we land the plane for this year, we're looking ahead at next year and dealing with the challenges of planning and budgeting and staffing for an uncertain future. And looking at, how will we plan and deliver instruction in the fall based off of public health guidelines? How will that impact, how we move forward? Schools are seeing registrations down as parents are uncertain about their own economic future and reluctant to put down the registration. There is a need for greater financial aid among our schools and our parents as the economic impact of COVID-19 hits our parents. And then, schools rely on a lot of alternative revenue also, which may be impacted, such as sports. If we're not able to conduct sports in the fall, that may impact revenues coming in from those streams, activities, facility rentals. And then fundraising and development is uncertain as we look to the future. So as I shared with one of our philanthropic partners, kind of the reality that we're trying to deal with, he just said, wow, that's a lot of uncertainty to plan for. And so we're working closely with our school leaders to help kind of navigate these uncertain waters. And then the last thing we're working on as the Department of Catholic Schools and working with our school leaders is just as we developed finishing the school year strong guidance, we're now working on starting the school year smart guidance. How are we looking at kind of planning for 3 different possible scenarios while also ensuring the health and safety of all of our students and following all public health protocols. But looking at, what if we do a lot of what ifs right now. So what if we have in-person instruction, and that is certainly our hope. What will that look like given public health guidelines? What if we have to be in a distance learning environment, or what if we have to offer some sort of hybrid of those two? So that's really where our attention and thinking is right now, and looking toward the future to ensure that we're delivering an amazing Catholic education once we get the opportunity to start up in the fall. So that's it for us, keeping us busy.
Well, thank you so much, Dan. Really appreciate it. If anybody has any questions for Dan about our Catholic schools, about the high schools, please use the chat feature and send your questions over to Johnny, and we're going to address those questions later in the program. Now, I'm really, really excited to introduce our high school guest this morning. It's a true joy to be able to spend the morning with these students. Joining them are the leaders of their schools. Raymond Saborio is the principal of Sacred Heart High School, a Dominican women's school. Martin Farfan is the president of Cathedral High School, a Christian Brothers men's school. Both are products of Los Angeles Catholic schools. Raymond went to St. Thomas the Apostle Elementary and Loyola High School in Los Angeles. And Martin is an alumnus of Cathedral High School. So welcome, everyone. Show us what you've got to drink this morning. Diana, can you start us off?
So I have my llama mug, and it says "Keep on dreaming," and yeah, it's a nice motivational thing. I'm drinking water because yeah, I've been kind of tired, so water keeps me awake.
Great. Welcome, Diana. You guys might recognize Diana. She was featured in one of our CEF videos last year when you were a junior, and now we're really excited to see you again your senior year. Kelley, what have you got to drink?
I have my Mickey Mouse cup. I don't know, I liked it and I found it this morning, and I'm drinking milk tea because I've been drinking coffee a lot lately, so I tried to do milk tea.
Let's see, who else we have? Oscar, what do you got this morning?
I just have my basic mug right here. I had orange juice this morning because it's still pretty early for me.
And Daniel.
Yeah, I have a mug, a Navy SEAL mug, because my aunt serves in the Navy. So, and I just have water in it. And then I also have my Starbucks from earlier this morning.
And Raymond, what have you got this morning?
So I'm gonna create some waves. I got my USC mug. Got to represent, cause a little friction with Martin and anybody else. So, and I'm drinking water. So fight on.
Boo.
All right, Martin.
Yeah, I got my coffee is the only thing to drink in the morning, and since we're the Phantoms, my favorite Jack mug.
Jack Skellington.
There you go.
Yep. Well, welcome everybody. So I have got some questions for each of them this morning, but I want to start with Diana, Oscar, and Daniel. You guys are all in the home stretch of your senior year. So could you tell us what are your plans for next year? Diana?
Next year, I plan on attending UCLA, and I got a full ride, so I'm very excited about that. And I'll be majoring in environmental science.
Congratulations. Oscar?
Next year, I will be attending Vanguard University in Costa Mesa. I got a baseball scholarship and an academic scholarship.
Congratulations. And Daniel?
Yeah, so I will be attending Santa Clara University next year. I have a full ride to Santa Clara, and I will be majoring in civil engineering.
Congratulations. And Kelley, you're a junior right now. You're a senior next year. But where are you planning to apply? What do you want to do?
Well, next year I'm going to continue in my extracurriculars and taking the honors and AP classes. And then I hope to apply to many colleges, but I mainly want to get into UC Riverside because I have a house over there. So I plan to live there instead of dorming to save money. And then I'd want to major in biology.
Well, good luck, Kelley. And good luck to all of you guys. Congratulations. You're already so accomplished. I wanted to ask you guys, how was the transition to distance learning? Oscar and Daniel, I understand that you were on a retreat when you guys got the news.
Yeah, we were just coming back from our retreat, and we were actually told at the retreat that we won't be coming to school on Monday. So the senior friends that went with us on the retreat, those were the last guys that we saw that day and didn't get a chance to say bye to anybody else at school.
And Daniel, what was the retreat all about?
The retreat was basically every year. So from freshman year to senior year, we always have a class retreat. And it's basically each year is a different topic. So freshman year, it's finding yourself as a freshman, new transition into high school. And then senior year, it's letting go, knowing what you're going to do next in your life. And it was the transition was hard because when we got the news, we weren't sure how long it would last. We weren't sure how everything was going to go down, and look where we are now. So.
And Diana, so you were an organizer for some activities at your school, including some senior activities. Can you tell us about what's going on at your school for those events?
Yeah, so I was one of the Kairos leaders at my school, and Kairos is a very big senior retreat, and we've been planning for a couple months, and we're also excited to give our class, this chance to bond with each other one last time. But unfortunately, 2 weeks before we were able to do that, it was unfortunately canceled. And it sucks because, we were really excited for our class to grow together. And, but I did learn a lot during the process of planning, and I was able to make a lot of, bonds with my friends. So I don't regret the experience at all.
So how are you dealing with graduations and other traditional events now? What is your plan?
Well, for us, we had originally moved we normally graduate out of, in Pasadena, out of a church. And then we have the Mass at the Cathedral. So we've moved only to having a ceremony at the Cathedral. And we had told the families that we had moved it to a date in July. But when, with how it's looking, we also have some dates reserved in August. So we're hoping to have something in person as opposed to having a virtual graduation. So that's basically, we're still hoping to have something with the parents and the graduates, depending on what the CDC and what the city of LA allows us to do.
So we actually met with the senior class a few weeks after we went into our stay at home. And we listened and we got their feedback, and the girls were adamant about not having a virtual graduation. So we listened to them, and we also, like Cathedral, graduates from the Cathedral in downtown. So we have a date in late July, hoping and wishing that we can do something in person. But obviously it's a waiting game right now. So we'll see what happens, and hopefully we can do something in person for the parents and for our students.
Yeah, we are delivering signs to the graduates. Actually, on my way into work today, I dropped off 4. So it was nice seeing the graduates and their parents and talking to them. And then we're posting up their pictures. We're working out of our office on a video for the seniors. It should hopefully be completed by the end of this week. So, I mean, the different things to celebrate their time with us, and understanding that, I mean, this is a once in a lifetime event for all of us. And telling the students that, you know, there's always an assumption that maybe we know something they don't know. But in this case, we're all learning together, because we really don't know, and much more than they know on the situation.
So our seniors are done with their finals on Thursday. So once they're done, we have a few celebrations planned for them. We have a cute cap and gown ceremony that we want to do, drive by with the signs and all that. So we're just waiting for Thursday to make it official. We didn't want the girls to slack off before it was time. So.
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. Daniel and Oscar, so how are you keeping in touch with your friends from school now that you're staying at home?
Me personally, I've been using a lot of different social medias. Also, I've been in contact with a few of my really close friends, and we've been going out and playing some catch and practicing baseball a little bit also.
Yeah, so the same as Oscar, social media is one of the biggest ways of staying in touch with my friends. Like FaceTime, we often FaceTime, and especially I've been playing a lot of video games with them, so that helps me keep in touch with them pretty well.
And Kelley, how are you keeping in touch with your friends?
My friends and I actually use Zoom a lot, or just like regular FaceTime. So we FaceTime each other, we study together. Sometimes we just have fun, play games on Zoom. And like the boy said, that we use social media to text each other. But mainly it's been through FaceTime, which it's nice, but it's different. It's something you have to get used to now.
And Diana?
So I've been playing a lot of like video games with my friends. So that's how we've been staying in contact, and we've been FaceTiming and watching shows together.
Now, next year you're going to have to make a lot of changes to the physical plant. So these questions are from Martin and Raymond. Martin, can you tell us about some of the plans you have for safety and hygiene next year?
So as Dan earlier mentioned, you know, we're working on also as well 3 different scenarios. Everything that Brother John, who's the principal, and I see, it looks like it'll probably be a hybrid system. So it looks to us that we'll be doing online, but also bringing in students, maybe half or a third of students at a time onto the campus. So we already have ordered some heat scanning, a system where every morning faculty members and students will come in through one of our buildings, and there'll be actually 2 classrooms set up for scanning temperatures, and also asking the questions that you need to ask about health and how they feel on a daily basis prior to the start of school. And then just putting around the campus, we're putting up 30 different sanitation for students and for faculty members to be able to sanitize their hands. And then working with our cleaning staff. Currently we have 4 on campus. So coming up with the equipment that we're going to need to sanitize everything on the campus. And then also going to require next year students to bring in their own Clorox wipes so that they'll be responsible to clean their seating areas, their desk before each class. So these are just things I mean, we have some time. The summer school is already scheduled to be done online for students who need to make up grades or take classes in the summer, including our incoming freshmen will be all online.
So we've had similar discussions with our administrative leaders and our faculty, very similar to what Dan and Martin have mentioned. If you've been to our campus, we're really tiny. We are in one building. All the classrooms are in one building. So I think it's going to make it tricky for us and more challenging. Our classrooms are really small. So that's going to be a challenge for us. We can maybe fit about maybe 10 to 12 girls with the proper social distancing. The hallways do get crammed with the amount of foot traffic. So that might be a challenge for us. And another challenge that we're going to have to probably face is I've talked to 1 or 2 families that are very hesitant about doing a hybrid model where they're showing up in person to school. They're very fearful of catching something, especially if there's no vaccine. So that's going to be a challenge for us. So it's something that we have to dive deeper into and look at before school starts in August.
Raymond, you've had some really creative ways that you've been reaching out to the community to raise funds and awareness about what's going on at Sacred Heart. Could you tell us about your recent events?
Sure, absolutely. But before I do that, I need to give you a little bit of perspective and
Sure.
about our school community. So first and foremost, we are a Dominican school. Our Dominican roots and our Dominican charism has instilled in us that we need to selflessly serve the young, the poor, and the vulnerable. We have a school community with great needs. 70% of our families are living in poverty. 98% of our students are on some sort of financial assistance, some sort of aid. The overwhelming majority of our families have that minimum wage, labor-intensive jobs where if something goes wrong in the economy, they're the first ones to get cut, to let go. We estimate anywhere between 25% and 30% of our families in that hospitality retail sector. So when the stay-at-order was issued, we knew right away that some of our families were going to be in big trouble. So what we did, we decided to launch our COVID-19 emergency fund early April. And so far we've raised about $28,000. And that's going to go immediately to help keep our families at Sacred Heart High School. And also we've do regular check-ins with all our families we call. And through calling, we discovered that some of our families have no money to buy food, pay for the bills. So we decided to do 2 things. So number 1, we partnered with Claire's Health, and together we've issued essential care and food baskets to our families. So we've done that several times. And our faculty heard of this, and they, on their own initiative, decided to do something for our at most risk families. So they pitched in money, bought gift cards, bought food, and we handed out 10 baskets at our most risk families. So it was very inspiring to see our faculty and our coworkers living that message of the gospel of hope and love. So it was very inspiring.
Wow. I have a question for the audience for you, Raymond, and then for Martin. What's the enrollment at Sacred Heart?
Currently, we have 287 girls. Nervous about next year. It's very uncertain. Things might be okay in June, they might not be, and things are going to change in July and August. So our goal is to keep all the girls, sorry, that's my dog, to keep all the girls at Sacred Heart.
Yeah, so we're at 620 students, and we're fortunate that right now we're actually ahead of last year on registrations. So we have 155 freshmen registered for next year. And normally we pick up from now till the start of school an additional 20 students. So we do have some open apps that are coming in. So we don't know how the COVID will impact us in that sense. Like Raymond, we also were, our families were impacted quite a bit. 98% of our families receive aid from us. This year, we went over $4 million in financial aid for the first time. So it's been, we were fortunate. I believe Raymond and most of the Archdiocese high schools as well were able to get the PPP from the government. So the PPP funding will help get us through till the start of next year. So, but that's basically where we're at in Roman. And we're doing also a COVID fund as well as Raymond, and working on next year's fundraising, since we're anticipating that we won't be able to have some of our special events.
Definitely enrollment is one piece. The other piece, which many people are not talking about, is that financial aid piece. How much more financial aid are these families going to ask to keep them at Sacred Heart? And like Martin, we give out a lot of financial aid. This past year, we gave out $1.4 million in financial aid. So I know that's going to go up.
Can you tell us a little bit about the Mother's Day and Father's Day events that you hosted virtually?
Sure. So part of our COVID fund, we decided to do a Mother's Day concert. I actually got the idea for one of our board members, Gabriel Buona. He said, hey, why don't you do like a live streaming of a comedy night and comedians? And I was like bouncing around the idea. I go, maybe not. So what we decided to do is we decided to go with our salsa, cumbia, merengue band, do a live stream the Saturday before Mother's Day, and just make a pitch for our alums, our friends, our families, and we raised a little bit over $4,000. So it was such a success, and everybody had so much fun dancing at home and drinking their drink. We decided to do a Father's Day one coming up June 13th, I believe. So we got to give the same amount of play for the moms and the dads. So June 13th, live on Facebook.
All right, so yeah, so look up Sacred Heart High School in Los Angeles on Facebook, and on June 13th, save the date. I have a question now for Dan, and then I hope that Martin and Raymond, you can chime in. What, if any, impact has virtual education and home study had on academic work and grades? And how are you monitoring that area to plan for the future?
That's a great question. And certainly something that is on our minds as we moved and shifted toward distance learning. You know, our goal for all of our students is college prep, and not just college prep, but college readiness, and ensuring that every student graduates from our schools, you know, with the skills, knowledge, and dispositions necessary to succeed in college. So, you know, moving to distance learning is not the same, and I think nothing beats in-person education. With our wonderful teachers working very closely with our students. But, you know, we're really, from a Department of Catholic Schools perspective, relying on that monitoring and accountability being at the local school sites by the principal and academic leaders. We do know that there has been some modification of curriculum where we've asked schools to really prioritize the most important standards and content for the rest of the year. And as we look toward next year too, you know, how do we prioritize and kind of find the most essential skills and knowledge and content necessary for success, knowing that we may be in some hybrid modality next year. That said, we're also going to be working with our schools in order to do you know, some pre-assessment of students as they come into the fall, in order to identify where there might be some gaps in learning and be able to address those. The other question too is really around grades, and we realize that every student's home situation is different and unique, and we've asked all of our schools and teachers to be flexible and understanding about that, knowing that a student might be taking care of his or her siblings and might not be able to do the work at exactly the same time that a teacher might want them, but to give some flexibility and extension of assignments in order to allow students to demonstrate their learning, not necessarily on the same timetable that we might expect during in-person instruction. And that said, too, part of our guidance for finishing the year strong was a recommendation that schools really look toward not giving Fs to any student, but instead give incompletes, and then provide an opportunity for students to continue working on those assignments and continue the learning throughout several weeks after the end of the school year, in order to ensure that they learn what they need to learn in order to get passing grades. So those are some of those areas, and that will continue to be on our minds as we enter into next year and keep the goal of college readiness for all of our students.
Thank you, Dan. I've got a comment. The comment is for Diana. It's from Mary Canobio, and it says, "Go Bruins! I am faculty at UCLA. Congratulations." And Diana, I wanted to ask you and the other students we have today. So you've got a full house right now. Is everybody home? What's going on with your family right now?
For me, my sister from college, she goes to UC Berkeley. She had to move back here, so she had to do the long trip from San Francisco back to our home. And it's been challenging because she has her her Zoom calls for her classes, and I have mine too, and we share rooms, so sometimes that can conflict. But it's I feel at peace knowing that my family's together and that we're safe at home, and yeah.
And Kelley, you've got a full house too, don't you? Who's at home with you now?
I have a family of 6, so my grandma's always home. My dad actually goes to work still, so he's been safe. He's been cleaning everything very sanitary. My stepmom, she is a teacher, so she's been on Zoom. Then I have a younger sister who's also on Zoom for her school, and a younger brother who's also on Zoom. So everyone's on Zoom around the house. And then I also have a cat, so she's really likes attention. So in the middle of class, sometimes she'll just come up to me, go on my laptop. So it's been a little chaotic at home.
And Raymond, you're one of those professionals at home with young children. How's that going?
Yeah, so it's a little bit chaotic. My wife is also a Catholic school elementary principal. My daughter's in 6th grade. My son is in 2nd grade. My son needs a lot more one-on-one help to get his assignments done. This Zoom virtual online learning is not conducive to him. So my wife and I, we take turns helping him. So we have to juggle our work and his assignments. So it's a challenge at times, and it seems like we're working more now at home than we were in the office. So, but it's fun. It's an experience I wouldn't want to change.
And Daniel, how's it going at your house?
Yeah, so I'm lucky that my mom and my dad, their hours were not cut. But my mom does work 2 weeks at home, then 2 weeks at her building where she works. And luckily, also, I'm an only child, so I don't have to deal with any siblings on Zoom calls at the same time as me, or a busy house. So I'm very fortunate for that.
How about you, Oscar?
Just like Daniel, I'm an only child as well. Both my pops and my mom are home. My pops is working from home as well as my mom, but my mom goes in once a week on Wednesdays to work. And I've also been tasked with taking care of my grandparents. So that's good for them. I get to spend more time with them. That's good for me and them.
How about you, Martin? How's everything going with your family?
It's going well. I mean, actually, honestly, I feel my wife is the administrative assistant at Mission High School, a plug for another Dominican high school. So she's been going in 3 days a week. I've been coming in every day, so I'm fortunate in that sense. My daughter is a senior at Ramona High School, so she's been the one that's been at home the most. So it's been an adjustment, but it's funny, you were mentioning how it impacts. For my daughter, I mean, Ramona's done a great job. She actually looks forward to her teachers. Actually, I sat in on a couple of well, they didn't know I was there, but I saw my daughter participating with some of her teachers, and I actually enjoyed one of the government class quite a bit. But and it's Sister Kathleen I know is listening, so I didn't just say it just because she's listening, but she's the president over at Ramona. But and talking to Brother John, who actually is the principal here and he teaches, the difficulty, as Raymond just said, his son, this hasn't worked out that well. We do have some students that it hasn't, that normally need that contact or someone to get in their face about their work or helping them on, and that's been a little bit more difficult to do through this new format. So that's why hopefully we could at least do the hybrid, because in those cases with those students who require someone sitting with them to helping them out, and just that will be possible on the hybrid. But yeah, so that's basically how it's been at my house. Has been actually not too bad, other than just feeling bad for my daughter being cooped in.
I just wanted to piggyback on that and congratulate and applaud all those teachers that are on our staffs that are teaching on Zoom and Google Meets and have little ones. I don't know how they do it, but they're doing an amazing job. It's a testament to our Catholic schools. So they're doing a great job. Keep up the good work.
I agree. They have stepped up. Raymond and I talked earlier during the week, and we said all our schools had some people who were, although we're an iPad school, but some were much more comfortable dealing with Google Docs, dealing with doing things online. Others were not as comfortable, but this situation has given everyone no choice but to learn how to become more efficient. And we're learning every day, every week and the students are as well. They've been patient and when I was visiting students this morning and talking to them and asking them how it was going, for the most part, they look forward to their interaction with their teachers and their classmates, but they said that they would prefer, as all of us, to be in school. So
I have a question for you, Martin. I know the plans for next school year are pretty fluid. What plans have you made regarding athletics?
So we're waiting, Brother John, on a daily basis. We're waiting for direction from the CIF. We're anticipating that football will probably be moved. They haven't announced that, but our sense is that they'll probably move it. They actually quoted that back in when the Spanish flu hit, they actually had the football championship game in March, which means they pushed the season over to January. So there's some speculation or talk that possibly football will move. For us, we have water polo and cross country. I happen to be the cross country coach, and we're hoping we can still have a fall season. And they're talking about maybe moving to accommodate football, maybe moving another sport into the fall on the men's side. So we don't know. We normally, some of our teams travel out of the area. Our cross country team goes up to Oregon every year. Our soccer team has gone to Texas or to Florida. So this year, we will not be doing any traveling out of the area. And but we're just waiting for direction. Brother John was telling me that even when they started opening up gyms here in the LA area, that they're still talking about not opening up locker rooms where showers are at in facilities. So working on a plan on if we do have fall sports, then how will the students get ready? They probably won't. I mean, practice is after school, so then they'll just go home as opposed to going into a locker room. So those are some of the things that we're discussing now. And actually, earlier today, he was showing me a video on a machine that sprays locker rooms. It's actually it'll spray the floor and the weight room, and you coat it with this coating that keeps bacteria off for 30 days. So you have to do it every 30 days. So just things that we're looking into, because as I said, things are different now.
Kelley, you're a student athlete too. How has this affected your sports that you play?
So I play volleyball, and I play during the fall season for my school, and then after that, like right after, I start club, and club lost all through around December, January until like June. So in the middle of it, we started getting the notifications from SCVA that all of our tournaments were going to be canceled. So we had actually booked flights to Reno and to Vegas, and those big tournaments were canceled. So it was a struggle to like get our money back and the hotels and everything. So yeah, it's been tough. They haven't said like that the season is going to be fully canceled, but at this point, I'm pretty sure it is. But we still, my team has FaceTimes every week where we work out together. So that's been fun.
And I know we have a couple other student athletes. We have a baseball player, Oscar.
Yes,
Right?
I
Yeah.
played baseball. Our season was cut short because we were a spring sport. I definitely missed my teammates in those nights. We were actually going to go on a pretty good run this year. But also I feel really bad for the juniors because at least I was able to get all my showcases in and everything and be scouted by coaches last year, my junior year. And this year, those juniors won't get that opportunity and might not be able to play travel ball in the summer either. So they're the ones that are really unfortunate in this situation.
And Daniel, I know you are an athlete as well. What sports do you play?
Yeah, so I actually play volleyball as well, just like Kelley, and my season was cut short as well, just like everyone else. I was actually on retreat. We had a tournament that was planned out right after retreat in Malibu. So the plan was right after retreat, we were going to head out to Malibu and play in the tournament. And during the retreat, we got the news that it was canceled. And we kept getting news that colleges were canceling a lot of the tournaments that were going to be held at their schools. And finally, like 2 weeks later, CEF had put out that all spring sports were going to end for the year. So that was very unfortunate.
I have a question for Dan. How is the Department of Catholic Schools, and do you know what kind of support are you providing for schools for the cleaning, disinfecting, and the new changes that are going to need to be made?
Yeah, well, certainly in our kind of decentralized system, schools are responsible for their own budgets. And so I know that schools are looking at the increased costs that this will have on their budgets, as well as especially some of our larger schools are looking at with the need for, constant cleaning and disinfecting, even having to hire maybe additional staff to assist with that. So that certainly will be a budgetary impact. Part of the CARES Act, however, does call for a lot of funds going through our local educational agency. So for a lot of our schools, that would be LA Unified School District or any number of the 70 plus other districts that our Catholic schools are located in. And right now, the guidance from the U.S. Department of Education does say that private schools should get an equitable share of that. And one of those services would be for cleaning and disinfecting. So our hope is that we will be able to work with our local educational agencies in order to be able to provide those services and supplies at our private schools, because that will be critical to ensuring our students' safety. I know that Paula Scala, our superintendent, is also looking at other potential sources and philanthropic partners who may be able to assist our schools who aren't able to work into their budget given the current uncertainties.
Yeah, for us, as I mentioned, my brother is the chief of the ER over at Woodland Hills, so he's the ER chief, and so he sent me the information that the hospital is using to scan any visitors or the patients. Well, really the patients, because the visitors have to drop them off. But that system was too expensive for us. It was about a $21,000 system. So we did a little bit of research and found a tablet system that works just as well and just as quick. So we ordered 2 of them. So the cost was about $9,800 for the system. The cleaning system that I was talking about is about $4,000, and that doesn't count the chemicals that you have to buy to spray on a regular basis. The hand sanitizing machines, they give them to you. You just have to purchase the chemicals. And as Dan had talked about, it's just adjusting with the people we have. We're not gonna, doesn't look like we're gonna hire anyone, but we have to then designate then who's gonna fill the machines, who's gonna use the machine to sanitize, who will probably have faculty members that will assign for the heat scanning, or maybe an administrator. We haven't decided that yet, but definitely, we're going to have to come together to take care of some of the issues of keeping the campus clean, and then also expecting that the students will have responsibilities. I mean, to have, let's say it's a hybrid system and we have 300 students a day on the campus. I mean, you can do a lot of cleaning with a Clorox wipe and 300 students using them. So, I mean, these are just, our realities. And then, they have a responsibility as well as we do to work on keeping the campus safe and clean.
Thanks, Martin. I want to share with you now, if you want to learn more about the COVID-19 funds at Sacred Heart High School and Cathedral High School, you can visit their websites here. They both have more information about what they're currently doing on their own sites. So if you want to do some more research further, you can visit shhsla.org or cathedralhighschool.org to learn about these two schools. To our students, do you have a prayer that you wanted to share with us? You do?
Yes, we do.
I see Kelley's nodding. Okay, who would like to start? Diana, go ahead.
So in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Dear God, during these times of uncertainty, please protect the essential workers who are providing important services to their community.
Please guide our world leaders as they make decisions that impact millions of people. Please help them make decisions that foster unity, growth, and security.
We also would like to pray for those who have contracted the coronavirus, that they may find care and healing, as well as support and protection for their friends and family.
And lastly, we pray for those battling with mental health, that they may find comfort and strength to endure their situation. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Thank you, guys. That was really, really beautiful. If anybody has any questions that they can think of later for Dan or Raymond or Martin or our students, you can always reach out to us. So thank you guys so much. Thank you, Dan, for describing the challenges that are facing our high school. Thank you, Oscar and Daniel, Kelley and Diana, for taking the time to join us this morning. Maybe missing class to do it, but we are all so proud of you too for all that you've accomplished, even in the face of this adversity right now, that you are able to finish your senior year strong. Kelley, you're finishing your junior year strong, staying positive and really looking ahead to next year. And thank you for that prayer. That was absolutely beautiful. And we want you to know, on behalf of everyone at CEF, we appreciate our students' efforts so much, and we are so very, very proud of you. Thank you so much, Raymond and Martin, for bringing these wonderful students and for answering our questions and taking the time out of your busy days, that we know that you are meeting the needs of your school communities, your school families, and your own families. So thank you so much for being with us. We have another comment. It says, congratulations to our students. And thank you, Ray and Martin, for what you and your faculty are doing for the students. So next week, we have Bishop Dave O'Connell. He is the auxiliary bishop of the San Gabriel region, and Xochitl Hernandez, the regional director of Catholic Charities of San Gabriel, joining us. We urge you to RSVP for this event now. The registration numbers are limited. And as we learned from Ray and Martin and Dan today, a lot of things have been canceled at this time, including the traditional graduation and baccalaureate celebrations and many of our school's fundraising events, where they are able to raise the necessary funds to provide scholarships and operational funding to serve the students and families. The school closure does not mean that class is canceled. Our students are still working very hard, but it does mean that the school's in-person fundraising activities and major events may have had to be canceled. And many families are out of work, and especially for those who are already facing challenges, can be facing extreme financial hardship. If you can give right now, please visit our website at cefbn.org, and 100% of your donation to CEF will support tuition awards for the students who need it most. We also have a link on our page for the Archdiocese of Los Angeles COVID-19 Fund, which supports schools and parishes in need. If you are able, we also hope that you can support the COVID-19 and emergency funds at Sacred Heart High School and Cathedral High School to help ensure that their students can return next year to a safe environment, and that the financial aid will be available for every student who is in need. So thank you all. Good luck to you all. Congratulations. Thank you everyone for joining. Goodbye.